So the Battlefield 6 beta is finally here now, and for those of you with early access, you can jump in right now and start playing. And although sure, it's a beta, there's no progression and it is just a test at the end of the day, let's be honest, we all want to frag out and dominate games because that's what makes Battlefield a whole lot of fun. And so today, based on my playtime in LA last week, where I probably already clocked around 10 or so hours of game time, I'm going to run you guys through the 5 weapons that I personally thought were the best so that you guys can quickly get into the groove in the open beta. Today's video is sponsored by EA, so a big thank you to those guys. And for those of you who are interested in joining in on the beta both this weekend and next weekend, there is a link in the description with all of the information that you guys need to jump in for yourselves. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm not going to go through like the full-on exact builds that I was running, mostly because one, I can't fully remember, and unfortunately being on a different setup than my own, I don't have them saved either. So I don't know the best setups just yet, but also I'll probably save a lot of that content for the actual full launch of the game. So I'm just going to run you through the actual weapons and give you a rough idea of how to build them out, but I won't run through the actual full-on loadouts. Now, starting off with what I personally thought was the best weapon in my playtime in LA. This was an assault rifle called the NVO-228E, which essentially looked like an AK. Obviously, all the weapons in this game have a slightly different name, so I don't know what it was exactly based on, but not only from my playtime, but also talking to a lot of the creators there, this seemed to be generally the best assault rifle in the game and probably one of the best automatic weapons as well. The sniper was really good, the shotgun was really good, we'll get to those in a minute, but in terms of automatic weapons, I think the NVO-228E was probably the best gun in the game. A good comparison for those of you who did play 2042 is this gun kind of feels a bit like the M5A3 of 2042. Now, not in terms of how that weapon felt, but just in the fact that the M5 was realistically kind of the jack of all trades, and it was, at least early on anyway, just objectively the best gun that literally everyone was using for a while there. So it feels a bit like that, where it's just the jack of all trades. It's got really good range on it. It's also still decent up close. It does have the tiniest little bit of kick compared to a few of the other guns, but it is very, very manageable. And for the amount of recoil that it has, it deals really good damage as well. So I think that's the best part about it, is that it felt really accurate, but also had a pretty good damage profile. And if you guys enjoy assault rifles, I really do think that this is going to be most people's favorite weapon in the game, at least in the beta build anyway. In terms of how to build it out, I would say just build this weapon for reducing recoil as much as you can without making it like too slow. One of the downsides to building it for recoil reduction is that you can sometimes slow the ADS speed or the movement. So just balance that out as much as you can, but if you can just reduce that recoil even a little bit more, then you are going to absolutely beam with the NVO. Now, moving on, the next one we have is a submachine gun known as the SGX. Now, the SMGs in this game felt pretty dominant, I'm not going to lie, especially on obviously the close quarters maps. And this one specifically felt like an absolute beast. I think both of the ones available in the beta are really decent, but this one felt just a tiny bit better than the other one, which I'll get to in a second. Now, with the SGX, and realistically with any SMG, you obviously want to build them out for close range. That is where they thrive. But for the SGX, I would recommend building it for like genuine close range, not just like close to mid range. Obviously, SMGs can still handle themselves with a little bit of extra range, but I would be building this for proper close quarters combat, because the hip fire with this thing, especially if you put a laser sight on it, is absolutely insane. I don't know if that's like bugged or what, but the accuracy on hip fire from my playtime last week anyway was absolutely insane, and I think a lot of people sort of cottoned onto that pretty early. And so if you build this thing for hip fire and just general close quarters, you are most likely going to dominate, especially like I said on those close quarters maps. I will say with this one, you probably want to run an extended mag, because it does obviously have a fast rate of fire and you're going to run out of ammo pretty quickly. But yeah, give this one a try. I think most of you are going to thoroughly enjoy it, especially if you already liked using SMGs. Now, before we go any further, if you guys are interested in more Battlefield 6 content and you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. There is so much more content on the way, so make sure you don't miss out. Now, speaking of close quarters, the next one we've got here is a shotgun called the M87A1. I'm pretty sure it was the only shotgun available in this build, and this is probably the god gun of this game already, I'm not going to lie. Unless they've nerfed it, there were rumors it was actually bugged in that beta build, which they have updated that since then, since the playtime last week, so maybe they've fixed that, I'm not too sure. But this thing was absolutely clapped at the reveal event, and you could notice that everyone was like slowly learning about it, and it clearly became the meta by the end of the week. So for any of you that like close quarters combat, and especially if you like using a shotgun, use the M87A1. This thing is absolutely insane, and for me, as someone who's not much of a shotgun enjoyer, I am promoting you to use this weapon so that they realize how broken it is and they nerf the hell out of it, because I absolutely hate getting killed by shotguns. So even if you're in the same boat and you're not a shotgun player, just use this thing, let them know it's broken, and hopefully by the time the game actually launches, they have made it a bit more balanced. It felt fine, really close, but like it has way more range than I think it should, and that's probably why it felt a little bit broken. And so yeah, on any maps that you feel are very close quarters, run the shotgun or run the assault class with like an assault rifle or an SMG or something, and then a shotgun as your secondary. And yeah, that is definitely going to be one of the meta builds in this game. Now moving on, we have another SMG. This is the PW7A2, which to me looks like it is an MP7. I'm not a weapon fanatic, so I have no idea if this is actually the MP7, but it looks like it anyway. And this thing was very, very fun to use. Now it's pretty similar at the end of the day to the SGX. If you've used the MP7 in any other shooter, it just feels like the MP7. That's why I'm saying I assume it's based off that, because it looks like it and it plays like it too. And realistically, it is just a pretty standard SMG. Now, it did feel a little bit better while ADSing compared to the SGX. That one felt way more dominant with hipfire, whereas the PW7 definitely felt like you had a little bit more range on it. It had some pretty decent recoil control, considering it's an SMG. But on top of that, once again, it was also great with hipfire too. So this one is maybe more of like a jack of all trades compared to the SGX, feeling a little bit better at close quarters. If the SGX doesn't feel like it's for you, give the PW7 a try. And once again, I'm sure you guys are going to thoroughly enjoy this weapon. Now, last but definitely not least, and this is maybe a little bit left field for me because I'm not an LMG guy, but we have an LMG, and this one is called the KTS 100. And I will not lie to you guys, this thing is absolutely insane. Now, it has pretty much no recoil at all, and it is apparently based on a real weapon that is actually designed to counter recoil completely. I'm sure a lot of you guys in the comments will know what weapon it's based on, so be sure to leave a comment down below and actually let me know, because I forget the name of it. But I saw this on Twitter where someone was complaining about this thing being a bit of a beamer, and then the community notes actually roasted them and said it is literally based on a weapon that is what it does. It's designed to not have recoil. So this thing is a bit of a beamer. Now, it does have a slower rate of fire, so it's not like it's got zero recoil and a crazy rate of fire. It is a little bit slower, but also obviously that means it is very accurate. The thing I really liked about it is that it is an LMG, but it starts with a 60 round mag, not a 100 round like belt like you would expect with an LMG. So for me, the 60 round mag is really nice because it's still a lot of bullets that you can put down range, but it has a much faster reload. That's one thing I hate about running LMGs, is that I'm a pretty aggressive player, so when you get caught on the front lines and you've got to reload a freaking drum mag, for example, it's really frustrating. Whereas the 60 round mag definitely felt a lot more viable, and it does make it feel like you're realistically just using like a very beefy assault rifle compared to a proper LMG. So for any of you who do like LMGs, or even if you just want something different, give the KTS 100 a try. I think you guys are going to very much enjoy this one. It's a beamer. It might take a little bit to get the hang of because it's a bit slower than the ARs and the SMGs and stuff, but I think this one is definitely going to dominate, not only in the beta, but probably in the full launch as well. Now, I decided I'm actually going to throw in a little bonus here as well. So there's actually going to be 6 weapons I'm going through, not 5. And this one is the M2010 ESR, which is the only sniper in the beta build. Obviously, there will be more in the full launch of the game, but I don't want to necessarily just talk about the weapon, because I'm sure you guys have found out this weapon is already very decent. I mostly threw this in here to give a few little tips on how to actually use it, because the sniping in this game is absolutely awesome. It is very satisfying. It's also very good if you nail it down, but there are a few little changes that make it feel a little bit different to previous Battlefield games. Now, the first thing to keep in mind when you're sniping is you have a heap of scope glint. It seems like it's a lot more than previous Battlefield games, and to be honest, most shooters out there. And so just be aware of that, because people are definitely going to see you if you are aimed down sights. And so the best thing to do when you're sniping is to not just stay to one spot. You want to be definitely staying on the move, because people will definitely know where you are. Now, the second tip, and the most important that I have found in my time sniping so far, is that the sniping seems to be borderline hit scan in this game. So for those of you who don't know what that means, Usually in Battlefield, there is obviously a lot of bullet drop, so if you're shooting at range, you do kind of need to aim above the enemy's head. That really doesn't seem to be a thing in this game unless it's some sort of bug, but it feels like that is intentional. And so if you feel like you're missing a lot of shots, or if you feel like maybe even the hit registration isn't all that great on the snipers, I think that is mostly down to the fact that it is, like I said, borderline hit scan. There is still traversal time. Hit scan generally means as soon as you shoot, it will result in a kill, like in Call of Duty, for example, but it isn't full on hit scan. There is still traversal time, but there is borderline no bullet drop whatsoever. And so all you need to do really is just aim exactly for their head, and you will do a lot better than if you are trying to account for the bullet drop. I think a lot of Battlefield veterans are going to kind of struggle there because we're obviously used to accounting for the bullet drop, but it doesn't really seem to be a thing in Battlefield 6, or at least in the beta build anyway. But that is it for 5 of what I think anyway are the best weapons to use in the beta. Like I said, didn't really go through too many of the actual attachments and stuff. That will definitely be coming in the future when the game actually launches. I'll be doing full-on weapon guides and stuff like that, not only giving you all the attachments, but I'm going to break down all of the stats and everything and do full-on in-depth guides for every weapon in the game, as well as plenty more content as well. So like I said, if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. There is so much more on the way. Like I said, a big thank you to EA for sponsoring today's video. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you all out there on the battlefield.